Welcome to Overby Bison. I'm Ken Overby, this is my wife Iris, and my daughter Jillian.
We're a third-generation farm, and I'm a second-generation bison farmer.
We have 400 bison on our farm, and we are excited to showcase our herd to you over the next few minutes. Bison are a herd animal. They like to live in groups. In this herd right behind us, there are 79 females that will be mamas next year, and there are 4 breeding bulls. Calves are born from mid-April until July. Calves, you'll see when they're born orange, reddish color, and they're a mammal like all other mammals. They nurse all their sustenance, all of their food comes from their mom's milk. And as they start to get a bit older, you'll see some of the calves, they start to change color. They start to get a bit darker, and they start to grow little horns. And around that time, they start to drink water, they start to eat grass. And gradually, they will eat more and more grass, and they'll depend less on milk from mama. Female calves are called heifers, and they are heifers until they have their first calf. When they have their first calf, they then become a cow. And these bison cows can live to 20 years of age, and some bison cows will have 15 or more calves in their lifetime. That's a lot of kids. Male bison are called bulls, and they tend to grow bigger than the cows. Male bison bulls can get up to 2,000 pounds. And 2,000 pounds, that's kind of like the equivalent of about 15 grown men. And that's quite a contrast from when they were born. Like, little bison calves are only 30 to 40 pounds when they're born. So they're about the weight of a 5 or 6-year-old. So they can grow rapidly, and they can grow to be big, large animals. The difference between a female, a cow, and a mature bull, if you look at this cow here, her horns really curve in, her horns are really close, and she's much smaller in size. But if you look at the big bull back here, his horns don't curl quite as much, and he's much bigger. So if you happen to have the opportunity to be close to a bison herd, you'll be able to tell the difference between a cow and a bull. The bison live on these pastures all year. They do not go into barns in the wintertime. They are indigenous to North America, which means that they've been here for thousands of years. And because of their fur and their wool, they can withstand our winters. And they stay nice and warm despite any cold temperatures. As you can see, the bison are still shedding. Bison coat is made up of 2 types of hair. They've got outer guard hairs and inner wool, which keeps them very warm in the wintertime. So what they'll do is they'll shed this coat through the summer, and by November, December, their new winter coat would be in place. You'll also notice that the back end of the bison doesn't have nearly as long a hair. In the summertime, when it gets really hot outside, and you may want to go to a splash pad or something, a bison will be out here on the prairie, and it helps them cool. They stay cooler with the shorter hair at the back end. As a bison producer, we harvest the sun. The energy from the sun comes to the leaves of the plants, and that, combined with the water, the nutrients from the soil, it grows really good, healthy grass. Great for bison to graze. In the wintertime, and after the bison have finished eating this by fall, there won't be any grass left. Our bison will still keep grazing. They will still be eating, but we plant a crop. We plant corn for them, and they graze the corn. When they are done the corn, we will put hay bales out on pastures like this, and they will eat the hay right out here in the wintertime. If, however, there is enough grass under the snow, you'll see their big, powerful front ends with the hump. They are so strong that they are just like an excavator. With their heads, they will swish the snow from side to side and then dive in and come up with a mouthful of grass. Bison will drink 10 to 15 gallons of water during the day in the summertime. And right now we've had a lot of rain, so there's quite a bit of surface water, so they might take some sips from low-lying areas with water. But the majority of the time they will go to a water trough, which is supplied by a well. They can also go to a water fountain, or in some remote areas, they will be supplied water by a solar pump. Dung beetles love bison poop. They feed on the bison poop. They help break the bison poop down, which then helps the nutrients from the bison poop to go back into the soil. And it acts as great fertilizer, which then helps the grass grow bigger, stronger, and more grass for bison to eat. What also happens on a grassland is, as these plants are growing, they take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. It removes some of that from the atmosphere, and it will store the carbon in the roots of the ground. So bison grazing and grasslands help with climate change. It slows down climate change. An advantage of grasslands, when we have heavy rains like we've just had, the root systems just act like a sponge, and it'll store all this water, and as conditions dry, there is plenty of water in reserve. Grasslands are able to sustain dry periods and droughts really well because of that sponge-like root system that can store so much water. This is a bison wallow, and we just had a rain 2 days ago, and as you can see, it filled up with some water, and that gives a perfect ecosystem for insects to breed and multiply. And that then attracts other species like birds, etc., that will feed on those insects. What you'll also notice after the bison have wallowed, that occasionally they will shed some of their hair. So here's an example of some hair, and birds will then collect this and use it to build their nests. And what bison also do to the countryside and to the pasture is they will graze the grass at varying heights. So some species of birds would prefer to live where the grass is short. Other species would like it where it's longer. Other species of birds would like to build their nests in the shrubs and the bush off to the side. So bison create ecosystems for other species. It's a case of species getting along with each other. Bison, as big as they are extremely athletic, extremely agile, and they can actually move very fast. They can run up to a top speed of 45 to 50 kilometers an hour. That's the speed limit in most towns and cities. And if they were running past your school, they'd be breaking the speed limit. They're also very good swimmers. And so when we make fences, we have to ensure that the fence is around the water body or on this side of the water body because they can swim across it. Another part of their athleticism is their ability to jump. They can actually jump quite high. So our bison fences are at a minimum of 5 feet high, just to ensure that they don't go over top of it. Bison is the greatest conservation story in the world. In the late 1800s, there was only just a few hundred of them left due to overhunting and other reasons. Manitoba has played a big part in bison conservation. There were some Manitobans in the late 1800s who gathered up some stray bison and started small herds, giving them a place to live safely and reproduce. And that was part of the start for the conservation of bison. There's now about 500,000 bison in North America. And because of the importance of bison to early Manitoba, we will see a bison on the Manitoba flag. If you're at the Manitoba legislature, you will see 2 big bison statues at the foot of the stairway. And the other thing we have in Manitoba if a person has done something great for Manitoba, they will be inducted into the Order of the Buffalo Hunt. Bison were very important to First Nations and Métis people in Manitoba and in Western Canada. The bison provided them with food, their hides for shelters, the dung for a heat source. That was a heat source for cooking, etc. Also used every part of the bison. And so not only the meat, but also things like horns that fell off. This could be used for utensils. It could be used for a cup. It could be used for a scoop. The wool, they could braid this together and make ropes out of this. They used the hides for leather processes and leather straps, moccasins, leather clothing. They went on hunting expeditions, and from those hunting expeditions, they made pemmican. They used the bison meat, the fat. They picked saskatoons, raspberries, strawberries, any berries, and mixed that in with the bison meat and made pemmican, which was important to them, important to the fur trade, important to early settlers. Today, we still use all parts of the bison. Obviously, we eat bison meat, but the hides are used for leather. The wool can be used in fabric. It can be mixed with other fabrics from other species for making scarves and mitts and toques.
Bison is a very unique product that is lean, which means it's low in fat, very nutritious. What we like to eat on our farm, we make burgers, we have jerky and steaks. Some of the essential nutrients that bison give our bodies are B vitamins, zinc, and iron. B vitamins for energy.
And zinc is for wound healing and a healthy immune system.
And iron gives us healthy blood. There's a lot of different people that we need on the farm to make it successful. Myself, I am an animal health technician, and I work hand in hand with veterinarians to make sure that we have healthy animals that will produce healthy meat.
We also are fortunate to have neighbors who help us with haying and getting hay ready for our animals, planting corn. We need truck drivers to deliver feed. We need truck drivers to haul our animals to market. We need mechanics to fix our old tractor. We also utilize nutritionists who formulate our minerals and vitamins for our bison and to produce a healthy, nutrient-rich meat.
We also need people like my dad, who is the main farmer, making sure the husbandry of the animals is properly cared for. They're getting all the nutrients that they need, and that's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job.
Thanks for touring our farm. I hope you've enjoyed today, and I hope you've learned something new about bison.